Hello, thank you for clicking on to attheraces.com. This is our very special Royal Ascot preview, and looking ahead now to the Royal Hunt Cup. With me is Jason Weaver, a veteran of many a close Royal Ascot finish. Great to see you, Jason. Terrifically wide open handicap as ever.
As is always, John, very, very competitive, but we have luckily been able to narrow it down just a little bit. We've got rid of what we think is the dead wood, and we're going to get stuck into what we think is live.
Well, I think I've got the winner. Let's see if you've got the winner. Is it, for example, Green Destiny, who's clearly, Jason, been having this race on his agenda for quite some time. He first really looked to us like a real top-notcher, potentially, when winning at Leicester last back end. Loved the way on. Heavy ground, don't forget, Jason. He came from a long way back to win well.
He certainly did. William Haggas has got his team ticking along. They seem to have just come into form at the right time, in all honesty. Had a very, very slow start to the season by his standards. He wins here. We hadn't seen him since winning narrowly up at Haydock. But he's one of those, in all honesty, John, that has just gone from strength to strength. And anybody who saw his win after this up at headquarters in Newmarket in a mightily tough handicap there, he looked the proverbial group horse in a handicap, didn't he? Who just demoralised the opposition.
Yeah, he sometimes doesn't look particularly straightforward. His tail went a bit at Newmarket, but he's unbeaten on turf, 3 out of 3.
The way he travelled into his race on better ground, so he's shown that he's flexible as regards underfoot conditions. So I wouldn't worry as to what the weather conditions were for him on the day. If they came up with a little bit of dig in it, he wouldn't mind. It was fast enough at Newmarket when he ran to say that he's got no worries that end either.
He's been at the head of the market for quite some time. Start Right finds himself at the head of the market as well. And I can really see why. I like him a lot. First really caught my eye this year at Meydan. He took in, Jason, one of those tough handicaps at the Carnival. And this is typical of him, a real strong finish. Not quite getting there, though, in the closing stages.
Yeah, but do you just feel... some people crabbed this effort, but I thought it was a really, really good run. He was from a poor stall position. He was posted deep in stall number 16, and I think, in all honesty, that has been the case with him on more than one occasion just recently, hasn't it? You know,
yeah.
Not just here at Meydan. Since then, he's been posted deep on the track and caught more than one or two people's eye leading into this. And Luca Cumani, of course, he's a bit of a past master.
Yeah, Epsom the other day, he was terribly drawn.
Yep.
Dropped in the early stages, last early. Found a little bit of trouble in running as well, but really motored home. I thought it was a great prep run. It
was a prep run, but you've got to think that they were also thinking about the win as well, weren't they? They wanted to get his head back in front again. I think his overall profile is about 2 from 14, so one with as much talent as he's got. I would have liked to have seen it happen for him, but he has had poor draws.
You don't sound as enthusiastic as I am about him,
nope.
Jace. OK, well, let's move on. The horse, of course, that he finished third to at Epsom was Dance and Dance, and we can see Dance and Dance now running second to another big race hopeful, Eaton Forever. This, of course, Jason, was way back, one of the big early season races, the Spring Mile at Doncaster.
Yeah, and it was the real sort of launch pad for Roger Varian to, get his training career up and running. Eaton Forever absolutely hosed up on this occasion underneath Neil Callan. Dance and Dance, who you mentioned, come out and, well, I wouldn't say he hosed up at Epsom, but he was a pretty comfortable successor up there. Eaton Forever since this has gone on to be fourth at Ascot in listed company behind Side Glance, so he retains his form. Not been overly raced, so you've got to say that Roger has probably had this in mind for him for some time. It was, we'll run him in the listed race, worried to come up with the goods there, then we might be taking another jump up somewhere else, but they've kept his runs to a minimum. He's only recently been gelded. That seems to have put him focused now. Dance and Dance, he is going to need another big effort, but what we do know from him, as far as he is concerned, he loves a big field. He likes all that hurly-burly.
Yeah, he does indeed. And you won't see him early Dance and Dance, that's for sure. He seems to always habitually miss the break. But as we saw at Epsom, that doesn't always stop him from winning. He was very impressive the other day. Now, one well further down the weights, indeed it might be just touch and go if he gets in, but Point North represents Jeremy Nazida. Jeremy, a terrific handler of handicappers at this big meeting. Remember Larry's Poker 2 famously winning there the other season, heavily backed. Well, Point North is Jeremy's runner here. And we'll see him slightly disappointing at Windsor, Jason. He met trouble in running this day, but he has gone on and improved a bundle since.
I think this was just he wasn't knocked about. You can see there that he's not being given a real hard time. One or two people were questioning whether he was straightforward or not, but look, I think that he was just qualifying at the time. He was very, very patiently ridden, and I think that he got his mark here, and since this he's just gone through the ranks, hasn't he? He is a very talented horse, make no mistake about that. They actually tried him. His very last run was over 1.25 miles at Kempton. 2 runs back, he was a very tidy winner at Kempton, one with the minimum of fuss over the mile, which I think is going to be just about ideal for him. And Jeremy is not adverse to running a good one around Kempton and then pitching in here, so I wouldn't be worried about that.
Yeah, it's funny, Jason. It's more Jeremy and his reputation that switches me on about this horse rather than what the horse has actually done so far.
Yeah, Jeremy had, probably by his own standards, some of his best horses this year went wrong at an early stage of the season. So he's had to go searching around, and to keep an operation like his up at the level that we expect it, he's got to have had something plotted and ready to go.
Yep, and that's Point North. It looks as though he's going to have a big chance. Now, some Royal Ascot form from last year, the Hampton Court Stakes, and Monta Shell, little bit unlucky in the run here, finished 9th. But, he was a big price this day, Jason. I thought he still ran above himself, and back in handicap company, very interesting.
Yeah, this was behind Afsare, Quadrille, Wigmore, Hall, of course. So you're talking about horses that have gone on and really progressed. Yes, he was a little bit unlucky. He's gone well fresh in the past. If we look at his most recent run, he was the, I think, fantastic selection again, wasn't he, of Tom Segal, who put him up for one of the big York handicaps, and he came through to win and then just was out-bobbed at a vital stage. Again, the thing with him is we know that he's suited to this sort of race, and I would imagine that Michael Bell will also have him in tip-top condition.
I'm sure he will, yeah. I wouldn't think that Michael would be worried if there's a bit of rain about. I've got a feeling this horse is quite good with cut in the ground.
I would imagine that he is better with a bit of dig in the ground. I think that the most disappointing aspect, John, of the York meeting, the Dante meeting, was that we've got a perfectly good inside rail there. They've got rid of the joggers track that used to be Willie Carson's route many moons ago. Yet everybody was darting across to the stands rail. Shouldn't really happen on a Group 1 track. So, yeah, possibly a bit more dig would suit him. Yeah,
Monta Shell running really well when second to the informed St Moritz at York last time out. Behind him on that occasion was Varian for Ed Dunlop. It's taking an eternity for the handicapper to drop this horse in the weights. He's right up there as one of the top weights, Jason. For me, he's a nearly horse. That might be being really unkind. Maybe he's just harshly handicapped. I struggle to see him win, though.
Yeah, I think that he sets a very good benchmark for the others to aim at. Make no mistake about that. Yes, he's going to be lumping an awful lot of weight. This was at Meydan, of course, in the Zabeel Mile, the Dubai Duty Free Group 2 on the turf. And, of course, he was behind Riley's Keeping Faith of Mahmoud Al-Zarouni. He had Fun and Ultra in behind, so the form looks good. Fun and Ultra has come out and absolutely hosed up on Derby weekend. Plenty of good horses in behind, Hearts of Fire, Invisible Man and the likes of. I think he warrants a mention because he's already shown decent form at the track. He always seems to knock on the door. You just think, is there something progressing forward at the right time? He's got to his limit. And I think because he runs so well all the time, that is why the handicapper sort of is loath to drop him, yet loves it when he runs, John, because he can get his marker right off him. Yeah, well, that was a classy run, wasn't it, at Meydan? And that's evidence as to why he should be one of the top weights here. But he's hard to win with. I think, Jason, as we move on to Balducci, he's a horse who's really quite badly handicapped. That's my own view. Yep. I can't really see why he's got such a high mark. Maybe it's the run behind Kingsford in the Checker at Newmarket. We can see him at Royal Ascot. He was favourite for this, wasn't he? Or one of them for the Britannia. 7-1 co-favourite of a few on this occasion. He never really got into it. He seemed to be on the right side. What I will say in his defence, John, is that he was absolutely walloped up £12 for his win in the Silver Bowl, and that seems to have put paid to his chances. The flip side of the coin is, I don't think coming into Royal Ascot Week you've got a team in better form than Andrew Balding's. He has been pot hunting left, right and centre. Don't think we've been opening the paper recently without seeing another David Probert double on a couple of Andrew's horses.
Yeah, so there's just some of the key form lines then for the Royal Hunt Cup. Run at Royal Ascot on Wednesday afternoon, and Start Right, joint favourite with Green Destiny. Point North and Dance and Eaton Forever, all next in the market. We've had a look at them all, Jason. Which one do you land with?
I think that I would be mad to go and shy away from Green Destiny. Mightily taken. We're really pushing the boat out, John, aren't we? You like Start Right, I like Green Destiny, both at the head of the market. 2 8-to-1 shots. I think 8-to-1 is a great price, more than a certainly swallowable each-way price.
Excellent. So we may well fancy the favourites, but I think they're both going to run really well. Enjoy the Hunt Cup and stay with us here on attheraces.com.